These are some notes on poetry we'll be doing. The type of poetry we're looking at is called, first type is called lyric poetry. The author's purpose is to use focused, imaginative language to describe the experience of a particular moment. Characteristics describes a moment in time, may have characters and settings, but does not tell a complete story, expresses an insight or new understanding, has a speaker who tells the poem, uses language including figures of speech and imagery that has layers of meaning. How it is made, the structure is divided into lines or horizontal groups of words. The lines may be organized into separate stanzas. It may have set patterns of stanza length, rhyme, or meter in the formal poems, or it may not have any set patterns, the free verse poems. Structural elements of poetry. The basic unit of meaning in a poem is the line, or horizontal set of words. Lines can break or end in two different ways. Tip: structural elements affect how you read a poem. They also emphasize certain words or phrases, which affects the poem's meaning. Types of line breaks. First one is end stopped. End of a line matches the completion of thought or meaning. May end with a comma, period, or other punctuation. Example: fame is a bee, period. Next line, it has a song, period, by Emily Dickinson. In jammed, thought or meaning continues past the end of the line to the next line. Oh world, oh life, oh time on those last steps of the climb. See how that's all connected thought? So that's why it is not going to be end stop. It is going to be a little bit different. The message is continuing on to the next line. When you look at a poem, the little groups of words is like a paragraph. It is called a stanza. A stanza may have a rhyme scheme, like A, B, like the first one, if it rhymes with the next one, and those would both be the same letter, but if it's a different, if it doesn't rhyme with the first word, then it gets to be a new letter. So it starts off as A. If it doesn't rhyme, it gets to B. If they both rhyme, it's like AA, but we'll talk about that more in a little bit. So that's your rhyme scheme. And we should be going over that briefly. So here we are. Example, rhyme scheme. You can see sleep, sleep, sleep bright, dreaming in the joys of night. Sleep, sleep in thy sleep, little sorrows sit and weep, from the Cradle Song by William Blake. So we're looking at the rhyme scheme, so the very last word, if something rhymes or not, right? So you see bright. Bright rhymes with night. So it always starts off with an A. It always starts off with an A. The next word, it does rhyme. So like I said, they both are A's. Does that rhyme with sleep? Does night rhyme with sleep? No. So it becomes B. Sleep rhymes with weep, which is the next one. So they are both B. And it continues. Practice. We're going to do this together. I'm going to read it to you. We're looking at a stanza from The Courage That My Mother Had by Edna St. Vincent Millay. The golden brooch my mother wore, she left behind for me to wear. I have no thing I treasure more, yet it is something I could spare. So look at the rhyme scheme. Starts off with A. Does war rhyme with where? Should it be A or B? And you see a couple words in that do rhyme, so we'll check on that word scheme. This is our first poem. Moving on to notes, we talked about the lyrical poem, and now we're going to compare that with a narrative poem. Narrative poem has the author's purpose being to use highly focused, imaginative language and poetic form to tell a complete story. Characteristics: all the elements of a story, including setting, characters, and a conflict or problem. Imagery or sensory language, use all your senses, what you see, smell, taste, touch, feel, whatever, all that right there. Your speaker, a voice that relates to the story. Language that emphasizes the sounds of words. How it's built: structure, lines of text that are organized into stanzas or sections. May feature meter or rhythmic patterns or of stressed and unstressed syllables. Plot that introduces, develops, and resolves a conflict. Then we have song. Author's purpose: to use imaginative, rhythmic language and form to express ideas or feelings in a musical way. Characteristics: rhyme and other sound devices. Speaker or voice that relates to the story. Imagery that creates word pictures. Repetition of words, phrases, and sections. So like a song, like they in the chorus, you hear the same thing over and over, so it's the same thing, repetition. And then we have may have characters, dialogue, and other story elements. Structure has built verses and refrains or repeated sections. Meter or rhythmic pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables.